Morning, everybody. Hope everyone's ready for a merry holiday. Uh, those of you who watch the channel for any length of time know I don't ascribe to any one religion or belief system. However, I do wish my Christian friends a happy merry holiday. Uh, to be fair, it's not Jesus' birthday. There was a competitor, almost as it were, at that time in Rome by the name of Mithras, the Mithric cult. And Mithras was apparently born on December 25th. And when the Romans adopted the Christian church, one of the things they did to appease this other sect was to adopt some of its pagan dates and rituals and names into this new Christian soup melange, as they say. And some of the Mithraic symbology was placed into the Christian dialect, including December 25th. The Mithric belief system, if I remember, dates back to Zarathustra and Zoroastrianism from Iran, Persia. And, you know, when it comes to beliefs and holidays, for me, religion is a strange thing. And it's rooted deep in tradition more so than I think belief. And I think its value is in community and tradition. But it's essential to recognize that all man can have faith, all man can love. Man doesn't need one belief system or doctrine to know right and wrong. We all have a sense of morality and make that choice multiple times a day to do right or wrong. That being said, for myself, my spirituality, my consciousness, jazz has become a form of religion for me in a way. It's become my praise and worship. And my mom was an evangelical, and of course, praise and worship and singing and, you know, all that stuff was part of her daily edification. And to edify means to build up. I got that from my mom, of course. And jazz edifies me. Jazz builds me up. Jazz gives me strength. Jazz is my form of praise and worship. It's a place I go to block out the world and the stress and the modern confusion, distraction, debate, volatility. It's all straining. And to live in the place where especially the black musicians came from, to try to get into their headspace, makes me so thankful. And why jazz is my religion, why jazz is my belief system, why it gives me strength, has nothing to do with the notes or the chord changes or the pressings. Has nothing to do with what edition or how many grams of vinyl it's on. How complex the arrangement was. How difficult their free jazz notations were. None of that is what makes it what it is for me. It's just that brief second of recognition of that these men living in such hard times, under such hard conditions, create such elegant art. What a testament to my humanity. What a testament to their condition. I mean, I can't express it, I don't think, clearly enough. When you think of the role of the black male in America in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s especially, and then the betrayal of fighting for freedom in the war and coming home and receiving nothing like it. To look in the eyes of a Lou Donaldson, a Ben Webster, Sweets Edison, even, I'm talking their photographs, you know, Coleman Hawkins, Louis Armstrong, Count Basie, and to see joy in spite of all this. To see men creating delicate, ornamental, intellectual, emotional statues of sound. I mean, there's so much ugly and stress and dissonance in their daily life that the beauty of melody and the spiritual release and the power of the consciousness to flow through their instruments, the way it gave them that peace, that solace, that refuge. I mean, that's powerful. It gets my hair standing on end. And I don't think I've said it enough, even though I've said it a lot. You know, how dare can I be unthankful or take this for granted or complain? Not to say we don't have tough things in our lives. We all do. But in the face of lynchings and riots and protests and beatings and incarcerations and killings and constant fear and tension, their response to it was this intricate beauty, a delicate thunder. Sorry to borrow from you, Pink Floyd. It was a delicate thunder. Ellington's a delicate roar of sound, intricate, intellectual, spiritual, but somehow sexual and free and swinging and a bringer of great joy. And so the power of this music was so great that it taught the world how to dance. People danced to jazz from sea to shining sea, from the Far East to the European continent, the Southern Hemisphere, and of course North America. Jazz transformed the world. The sounds of a people, men and some great women as well, projecting life and vibrancy and urgency and an ability to overcome in spite of this. I mean, how does that not edify you? How does that not build you up? That in spite of such great obstruction and waking up every day, you could feel sorry for yourself. You could turn to a militant mindset. You could throw it all away and turn to a life of crime. There's a lot of things you could do when presented with this strain. And not to say people in the black community and other oppressed communities haven't resulted to some of those things, especially when the weight gets too great. But for these men in jazz and these women as well, this was an outlet. This was a survival tool. And it's an indoctrination that is recent enough in my lifetime that I can touch it, taste it, and feel it. I know the descendants of the black community, but also many jazz musicians I know and met, nephews, grandchildren of a lot, DJing in that community in the cities. And it's just an amazing testament. And of course, the color of the skin has nothing to do with it. It's just the strain that skin was put under. But when you put a lot of strain on that black, you can create a diamond. When you put a lot of strain on that, I mean, that weight creates a shine. What a great spiritual harmony that creates. A balance in this world. That when you're the ruling class and you live somewhat in opulence and comfort, you'll take most of it for granted and not live a life full of joy. You'll somehow miss some of it. And then you'll look at these other people who have so much less and they have joy in spite of it. And we can be inspired and be reminded of how fortunate we are and how we should be more thankful for what we have. And somehow grasp and link into the celebratory nature of a people saying, you know what, we alive and that's good enough. Not fettered by things, possessions, material wealth. Not fettered by the strain that comes with those responsibilities. I mean, they carried a great load. But music, dance, sexuality, it was all a release and a balance that helped them survive. And so for me, that's spiritual. It's a belief system. And I've made the reference to the African shaman, witch doctor, many times, who carved that mask And he carved that mask to protect his own spirit from the evil spirits, but also to protect his village and his people from the evil that exists and lurks everywhere in this world. Just beyond that jungle, over that hill, through that river, over that sea. The unknown. I'm going to carve this mask and ward off that evil. And I need to be the best carver I can, to be the best protector of myself and my people, my village. The ego has no place here. I'm not being the best carver to show off how great a carver I am. That's never my mentality. I want to be the best protector that I can be. And by virtue of needing to be there so frequently, that virtuosity becomes a byproduct of my essence, of me being there so frequently. I've become a master. And I can carve a mask that you'll never see. And the jazz musicians, the ones I love especially, virtuosity was a byproduct of them playing constantly to find shelter, constantly to find joy and peace and refuge. All of a sudden they became masters of those instruments, and in most cases reinvented those instruments completely. That's powerful. I mean, can I get an amen? I mean, once in a while I got to get on the pulpit and preach a little bit. It's Christmas after all. So I just feel a certain degree of spirituality with, and I don't consider it my religion. You know what I mean? I don't. But I do feel it is my praise and worship. It is my edification. Again, that means to build up. To be reminded of the struggle of one's friends, neighbors, those living across the sea, should make me value how fortunate I am. And it's not to say we haven't made mistakes, not to say we don't have sorrows of our own. It's a really cold day here right now. It's like minus 10 or 11, and it feels like minus 30 or something like that. Yesterday it was like minus 35 with some wind chill, what it felt like. It's been a cold couple days, and a slow couple days as well. If you see me doing this a lot in videos now, I think I'm hearing the door. Of course, I haven't so far today. It's been... they protected the store with a century almost for us here, and it didn't quite live up to that, but everyone's still kind of batting down the hatches, and it's been a slow couple days thus far. But that's all right. I've gotten some stuff I needed to get done. But I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you have just a wonderful New Year. I'll be making an episode again next week before the New Year, of course. But I'm playing some fun, Ramsey Lewis Christmas music today. And I'm about to play the second More Sounds of Christmas. And the Ramsey Lewis Trio are bringing that Chicago Southside Soul to Christmas. And then we're going to play some more great Argo stuff from the Chicago scene. Some Illinois Jack Cat, some Hank Jones, some Frank Foster, some James Moody, some Ahmad Jamal, some Al Gray, some Laura's Alexandria, and then some of the Jazz Tet. We're going to do some Argo today because Argo is one of the great temples. Chicago is one of the great cities of this story. However, I do want to share a lighter note. I'm doing an event coming up in a week or so, and I got some fun stuff I'm going to play. And this is something I often forget about, but I love stuff like this. This was the sequel to the Batman Neil Hefti soundtrack from the television show. And everyone knows, na 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 na. But these records had fun other tracks that would play in the background of the cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Or the television show, I should say. But, boy, there's a couple tracks on here I just love. And none I love more than Senor Bam Boom. And what's so fun about Senor Bam Boom is the guitar playing in it has such a strong echo and delay that it's almost percussive and almost sounds like it could be a drum. How cool is that? You can almost see the little Fred Flintstone feet a jogging and a running Scooby-Doo like. It's so 60s, it's so mod, it's so hip, it's so bringing in. You can just see Shaggy dancing to it, fun Neil Hefti stuff. Hefti was I gotta stop because I don't want this episode to get edited or taken down. That's never fun. I'm gonna have to take stuff out of an episode. But what this and stuff like this. I mean, it's got some surf. It's got some spooky. I mean, it's such a cool piece. Hefty's a brilliant. The great arrangers, the Russ Garcias we were talking about the other day, the Henry Mancinis, the Neil Hefty's. There's just a lot of guys that were making songs backed with the Hollywood band orchestras. And just some insane players, many who are anonymous today. But golly, Mancini, it's just insane. Some of the cool pieces of music these guys made up and how influential a lot of it was, and how they used jazz and film, and how they used the European classical sounds and kind of fused a lot of things together. Then they brought pop, rock, and R&B elements into some of this stuff. It's a pretty cool genre of music, actually. And the soundtracks of today are a far different experience than the soundtracks of the 60s. There was a different process going on. And today it's about getting some rapper that someone knows or some singer that someone knows to sing on some well-produced, well-made song, which is fine. But, I mean, this time it was more about musicianship and playing and real arrangement and real songwriting. The pop production of today, it's such basic, simple stuff most of the time. And whatever, that's fine. But there's something to be said for great playing. And part of what I like in music is I do love to hear great playing, especially when it comes with a sense of joy and freedom. And again, I kind of tune out when it seems to be driven by the ego. So anyway, this music, it is powerful to me. And it does go so far beyond just, wow, listen how great he just played, or look how much this pressing costs, or they're going to reissue that. It's hardly the context I've ever really seen the music in. And once I really understood those brushstrokes that I've spoken of many, many times, and got that emotional context of how a person's expressing how they felt that day over a song they knew well, just emoting and releasing pent-up frustration and joy and pain and fear and sexuality and the whole gamut. It makes the music so open to interpretation, so open to perceptions. And you can kind of sit there with your eyes kind of one eyebrow up going, oh, I kind of felt what you're saying there. And that's what's fun about it. It's trying to feel what a guy's trying to tell you, not trying to hear notes, not trying to divulge how difficult the arrangement was or how complex the song structure is or how trendy or expensive a record might be. It's trying to feel what an artist or a musician is trying to say to you, what they're trying to get across. And I know if I was an artist, which, most of my life I have been, I'd be pretty disappointed if people sat around talking about my record all day and spoke about nothing more than the pressing it was on or the paper it was written with. I would want them to be talking about what was he trying to say to us? What was his underlying message? And I know that most of these jazz musicians would want you to say, man, what was Hank Mobley trying to feel? What was he trying to make me feel? That's what they want you to do. That's what they want you to delve into. As an artist, I can say that with confidence. They want you to think about their condition, their experience, their environment, and even their personality. And ask yourself, where might I be coming from? It'd be pretty easy to be a black man in America in 1935 and sit around and feel sorry for yourself. It'd be pretty easy to be a black man in America and pick up a gun and harm somebody. It'd be pretty easy to end up in prison. It wasn't easy to be emotionally open and dumping your soul into these instruments and making this music and showing time and posterity how human and intellectual and beautiful and it's how necessary my existence is. How much you need to hear the message I'm sharing with you because there's truth in it. And we have the moral authority. We have the compass in pointing in our direction saying, you know what? You have been on the butt for long enough. you can define what the promised land, the land of milk and honey, should look like. And that gives them that moral authority, and it gives them that message that I won't be defeated. I won't quit. I won't lose. And I think that's the ultimate message in the music, is sometimes those who think they're winning are actually losing. And sometimes those who we perceive as to be losing actually get to win. And the fact that we can listen to these jazz musicians 60, 70, 80 years later and feel and hear what they had to share with us, and how joyous and how incredible their gift was, in spite of that fury around them, how can you not be impressed? How can you not be amazed? How can you not be respectful and inspired? So that's my Christmas message today, is take from jazz what it's giving you. It's giving you a message of human resilience. Merry Christmas to everybody. I appreciate all of y'all. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Give it a thumbs up. I guess it helps with the algorithms from what other YouTubers say. I'm not great at that part of this, as you all know. I'm gifted with speaking about how I feel. That's where I come in. And so please share this with your friends and help spread the channel, Again, it's never really about me. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make, whether they're DJs or whether they're YouTubers, trying to get that spotlight on me versus the message or the point at which you're talking about. As a DJ, it was always about the music. And on this channel, it's always supposed to be about the music, not really about me. So y'all be safe. Have a great holiday. I'll talk to you all next week. We'll do some fun New Year's talk. I have some fun things in the pipeline. I kind of feel rejuvenated in some ways. This was a tough, long year. All that construction, it was exhausting. The stress and the pressure of the unknown, that was tough. Always wondering what obstruction is laying in wait that we know nothing about, that's going to kill us financially. And it never really came to fruition. So I'm blessed. Merry Christmas. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.